Bookmatic lifelong learners. We've got an awesome book here, Grandpa's Fortune Fables, Fun Stories to Teach Kids About Money by Will Rainey. And wow, I've been so blown away about this book because, well, my daughter and I have been sitting down almost every night reading through like one chapter of this book, and I really enjoy it. My daughter really enjoys it. She's only 5 years old right now, but she's able to grasp most of the stories in this book, and they're done in such a fun way that helps her to understand about money and investing. So the book kind of reminds me a little bit of like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's got the but for kids, and it's great because you can, as a parent, you can sit down with your kid and maybe just read a chapter a night or a day, and it's got some really cool discussion questions in there as well. And at the front of the book, it's got a like a code puzzle at the end of each chapter. You answer a question, and you're supposed to put the letter answer of the letter in the front of the book. So those are some really cool aspects that make the book fun for your child and also for you. It's something that you can sit down and share time and knowledge with your children. One of the things that I like most about Grandpa's Fortune Fables is the fact that that the story is actually very well written, and it follows this boy. His name is Boris, and he's kind of a bit of a bully. And then there's this girl. Her name is Gail, and she's like a wealthy kid in the neighborhood. Boris is not so wealthy. He bullies other kids and stuff like that. And basically, it's the story of Gail trying to help Boris out to have more of a wealthy mindset and to learn the three rules of wealth here. So, which are, let me get them up. Oh, yes, the three rules of wealth right here in the front. So, rule number one, keep one out of every 10 seeds you receive. Two, plant the seeds you keep. And three, let your trees grow. So Gail's purpose, every time she meets up with Boris, she tells stories that teach a lesson about each one of the rules. And that's where the fables come into play. You've also got the character of the grandpa, hence the title of the book, Grandpa's Fortune Fables. And basically, it tells how he went from being a poor person to investing and letting his seeds grow, literal seeds in the story grow. And also at the very closer to the end of the book, it tells you some secrets on how to invest, like diversify as well, like if you're investing in stocks. But it also mentions about how to invest in your own business that you build. And also it has a good aspect about caring for others and giving back to the community, just like Gail is giving back to Boris in this story. So I really like how everything ties together so well in a nice story that has some really good lessons and also has some fun illustrations as well. So your kid will probably not get bored with, something like this because it's a fun story, and then they can learn from it and repeat back and try to think of different ways that they personally can invest their money. And I would like to give you an example of one of the stories that's in the book here. So you've got the character Richie Raccoon and Wealthy Wallaby, which is the grandpa. Wealthy Wallaby wants to help out Richie Raccoon because Richie always spends all of his money. So one day, Richie Raccoon comes to Grandpa and says, "Hey, can you help me out with, like, hey, how do you actually invest the money?" And then grandpa's like, okay, well, here, how about you do some work for me? And then I will give you, I think it was like 10 seeds or something like that, to, you can save one of those seeds and plant it so that you can grow your own forest, which then you can, start selling the fruits and planting the seeds and, selling those fruits and maybe even selling some of the trees or, something like that. Uh, but basically, Richie Raccoon would go and he would never get a chance to plant his seed, because what he would do was walk through the town and then he would see something that maybe he would want to buy, such as a new pair of sunglasses to help him block out the sun when he's planting the seeds, or a new pair of clothes so that he could work in those new or old pair of clothes, right? So he'd always end up spending his money. And then there's also some other stories later on where like Richie Raccoon would get tired of waiting for his trees to grow. So he tried to gamble, which was one of the lessons about, hey, maybe you shouldn't gamble. You should have patience and wait for your trees to grow. There's also some helpful lessons about how credit can be like a detrimental thing for you, especially if you don't have money. So borrowing, and I think that was part of one of the stories about Richie Raccoon, where he was going to try and gamble for more trees or more seeds. And then he ended up losing his money on credit and then having to end up paying a whole lot more. So lessons like these for like a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old are so valuable. And they're told in such a fun way. And, like I said, I have been reading this with my daughter. She's 5 years old. I'm probably going to read it again to her at a later date, like maybe when she's 6 or 7, just as a refresher. So I can hold on to this book and, come back with my daughter and maybe have her read it to me, or, she can maybe even read it on her own or something like that. But I see this as a book that we could always go back to as a refresher. And, even if I'm not holding the book, I could ask my daughter, hey, do you remember Wealthy Wallaby, what he did with his seeds? Do you remember 3 rules of wealth? All these types of questions that I could have a talk with her, and we could even start investing her pocket money in some of her own interests. So yeah, I really like this book. It's fun. I highly recommend it for any parents out there who want to teach their kids about how to invest, how to save, how to pass it on. And if the parents out there watching this video don't know much about money themselves, the lessons in the book are also valuable, although you could probably find lessons like that in some other books for adults. But I have enjoyed reading this as well. So I highly recommend it, and we'll see you in the next video.